No.
But Dan, we were rolling. We had like 150 people in there, and then there was a button to say add guests, and then my phone just decided it didn't want to. So, damn, we gotta wait for the people to come back.
Oof. I posted in the Discord, so hopefully some more people come in.
Oh, you haven't seen the new shop yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
Back room, back room, back room.
There's so much space.
We got our names on the grip thingies.
Jeez.
Actually, we'll just turn around. Fireplace, Chris's fireplace.
Kind of nice. Does it actually heat?
Oh yeah, it's toasty in here.
Nice.
You get to creep on everybody.
That's solid.
How about them Lions, Hoodie? How about them Lions?
Bat break anything yet?
In here? I'm sure he has. All right, people are filing back in. Not as much as we had before, but you know,
it's coming. It's coming.
For the 70 people here, let's have a round of applause for Darren for waking up and joining us. Yep. Oh, it's
I'm
early,
tired.
the West Coast, but you know.
Here we are.
So let's talk Players Championship. Obviously, you both. 33rd place champion. High scores are one of the main topics, amongst others. So we had people asking before you joined, why do you think the scores are so high? Was it the patterns, the house? We know Wichita is a pretty good house from low end to high end, not too difficult.
Yeah.
Pattern thing, house thing, balls, urethane.
I think it's a combination of all the above. You give us 38 to 39. It's 30. We'll call it 35 to 39 feet. The guys are probably going to throw urethane, and if they're using the right way, the lanes break down pretty good, and scores are pretty high. And I think with the newer urethanes, because the guys can't hook them as much, they're forced to stay a little bit straighter for longer, so it develops a little bit better. Therefore, scores get a little bit higher. Is it just urethane? No. In practice session, reactive balls look pretty good on the fresh too. So I don't know if they changed the ratio of the patterns, and it could be a combination of North Rock as well. But historically, I've been told the gutter's not very good there, and I did have some shots shoot through it when I got steep. So I think it's mainly the build of the pattern combined with the house. And pins fall down pretty easy in North Rock, so that too.
Yeah, the few times I watched, I saw people miss left. I was like, oh, push. And then it was a 2-pin. I was like, yeah, never mind. So
yeah, that was I believe if I was able to throw urethane for at least half the block, I make the show. I know I don't make the show. One, I make the cut. Two, I probably have a good chance of making the show. But I threw it 1 out of 24 games.
Probably would be on the show right now.
I truly believe, like when I see it, like I was talking to Chris the other day. He said match play is just a different game. And bowling on tour is just a different game. We know that from bowling in general. League, your local tournaments, regionals, at your amateur high level events. It's nothing like bowling on tour. We just tear the lanes up so fast. Pair to pair is a mile different. It doesn't even matter how bad the topography is at the house. It depends on who's bowling on the pair. Like I had Belmo, Cortez, and Shota on my pair. That's a bad cross for me. Because the lanes are going to change so fast. And I didn't know which way to go. Like, did I have to move? Did I have to, how big are my moves? My third block, I was moving halves to up to one board per game because of how bad they were cliffing. Like my ball, if I moved one, had a chance to get behind it, had a chance to 2-8-10 if I missed left. It was unbelievable. So bowling with Belmo and Tez, I thought the lanes were going to change really fast. The lanes were the fronts were going to cook. I'd have to cross the lane a ton. It wasn't really the case. It was like bowling 4 different tournaments every block. Like if you looked at my ball sheet, it looked nothing alike block to block. It was insane.
Sounds about right. So didn't I thought it might have ended up for you like when you and I bowled in Vegas, where you wouldn't like if you were able to throw urethane, do you feel like you would have had that to where you wouldn't have even seen what they were doing?
Oh yeah, like a 2 and 10 would not have existed if I could throw urethane because I'd be able to stay straight enough. And I think the combination of using absolute control, which is the thinnest oil we bowl on, which means you want stronger balls to get the ball to slow down, uh, and 30 whatever mils, that that was the reason why guys didn't have to move as much, in my opinion, because you got the slick oil, you got a lot of it. How much can we really cook the front of the lane?
Yeah, it was still Brunswick machine too. Yeah.
Yep. So they got mega tight down lane. My second block was the first to the second block was like night and day. Like I could not throw the same balls. The ones that looked good the block before looked awful the next block. Um, that was actually the one block I threw urethane. I shot 228, hit the pocket every time. I think I 10 pin 4 times and I fast 8 once. I'm like, 228 ain't gonna get done. So I kind of just ditched the urethane idea. And I had a pie that looked pretty good. That looked terrible the second block. My absolute power, I had 510 the last 2 games. That ball was 2 8 10ing even when I got it there. So it's
Yeah.
just it's hard out there. Like block to block, you can't really predict what's going to happen because it depends on what the players are going to do different, and you don't know how they're going to play different off the rip. Like sometimes they play earlier, most times it gets flatter and flatter. Sometimes they are tighter. You just don't know.
Yeah, it's so hard when the scores are that high too. You can't give away a game. You can't be patient. But I just received a text. Chris is watching currently, so I'm sending every shred of luck that I will ever have on January 15th, 2024, to you, Christopher.
We need it one
So
time.
please go fucking win. Um, yeah, all the vibes for Chris today.
I like
But
his first half endeavors. He's bowling a couple of guys that are on TV for the first time.
yeah,
Those TV nerves are real. Even if you get that first one, you're like, all right, I got this, and then all of a sudden, things are different. The lights are bright. The approaches might feel a little bit different. The lanes aren't playing quite the same as the rest of the week. There's a lot of things that go on, and Chris has a lot of experience now, especially majors. So I'm feeling very confident for the first two. The second two, it's tough because they're seasoned veterans. Bill especially has won this term before. Has Smalls won this before too?
no, but he won the world championships at Northrop.
So both are
Yeah,
very, very.
he did win. He beat Belmo.
Oh yeah, so they're very experienced players. Obviously 1 and 2 seeds, so they're definitely good players. I mean, Bill O'Neill's a household name, and I'd like to think Smalls is a household
Oh,
name
he got
on
two major.
tour as well. Yeah, 2 major champions. So at that point, it's kind of a coin flip, but Chris does have the two-handed advantage on them. So
Yeah, I'm hoping the TV pair, the left, isn't fantastic because Stubler can throw the reactive ball, so I imagine he's going to break him down pretty well.
I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I didn't see him move very much. So I would assume if he sees what he wants to see, he could settle in quite nicely.
Yeah, yeah, we always worry about that for lefties. But speaking of lefties, let's talk urethane balls. What first we're going to talk about ours, 78U. I haven't.
Uh-huh.
Is it that they were so easy this week? Did they feel more usable, or does it feel like it's going to be something throughout all the season that you're going to be able to use?
I think all the urethane talk and how people thought it wasn't going to be in play, I think that was a load of baloney. Because urethane balls hook early, and you give us more oil that lets us play closer to the spot where we need to throw them or where
Mm-hmm.
we should throw them.
Mm-hmm.
I personally had a feeling that they were going to be maybe a little better. Um, it depends on the player though, because I think it kind of hurt players like me that got used to shaping it a little bit. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not quite fitting my eye to where I can lock it up in front of me. Because every time I get it up the lane, I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna hook early and get offline. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't, but I didn't really throw it enough to get a big enough sample size. Um, but I think they're gonna be just fine. We're not gonna be throwing it on like 43 feet. I just don't really see that because they don't want to grab the lane in the right spot for that. um, it has to hook early. Like we've always known that urethane balls had to hook early for them to be good, but this one has to hook early or it has no chance.
Yeah, it's got kind of a hot cell vibe to it, where it's all in the first 15 feet, and if it doesn't,
Yeah.
it's gone.
I think it's better than the hot cell for sure, just because it's symmetric, so it has a chance. It doesn't like mega lock up and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
goes super forward, or it doesn't hook so early you have to get so far left that you have to go around it. But um, guys threw it almost the entire tournament, so I think that kind of proves that the ball is plenty good enough.
yeah. You gotta wonder, like, well, I don't know what you guys heard. Obviously, I haven't heard, but like, if there talks about how they're changing where they put the oil. Obviously, Brunswick machine can't put reverse oil, so they're not front loading it. So I wonder what they're gonna do more to like the 41s, 42s. See if they're gonna add ratio to make the reactor balls maybe a little bit better, or if they're just
I don't
gonna
think it matters
leave them as
because
they're.
the reactive balls look plenty fine this week, and the guy still didn't want to throw it. I mean, it's if you can throw urethane, strike with it. That's always going to be the option because you could hit the pocket more often. Pair to
Yeah.
pair is going to be more predictable. That was my problem. Like I would go to a new pair, I'd wrap a 10, go to the other lane. If it was a little tighter and I got it inside out, it'd 2 8 10. So like I missed the cut because I split too much. I
Mm.
struck plenty. Like I split 2 times my first block, 260 over. I was in sixth. My second block, I split 5 or 6 times in like the span of 2 games.
Yeah.
I had 350 for 2 of my games. That's essentially averaging like 140 when the scoring pace is 240.
Yeah, you need a couple of 300s to offset that. I feel like
Yeah,
the way to take urethane out is almost like drop the volume or take it out of the front if you can.
I almost feel like they can't take it out. They could try to slow it down or get us to use it in spots where it was meant to be used. But
Mm.
like I watched Lavery Spar and Bug Kroll and Christian. They threw the black ball and they were curving it. It was game 8 of match play, and Bugs was rolling like a reactive ball. I'm like, if this doesn't stop us from using it, like especially in spots where we're not supposed to, nothing will.
Mhm.
Then I don't think the goal is to remove urethane from play. I think it's just to not let it be a career maker. There were some guys that were exclusively throwing this ball, and it's one ball making your career. It's not really is it skillful? It could be in some ways. You get a lot of different ways to throw this one ball, but at the same time, you know,
Yeah, I am happy to see Packy bowled so well this week. Not having the purple and still almost make the show. So
yeah, he's kind of proven a
good
point.
sign for.
He doesn't need the purple to. I mean, it's the next closest thing, so I don't know how much it's really proven.
Yeah, he had a lot going for him this week, but still, he bowled well. So we'll see in the coming weeks. U.S. Open's going to be a big test, obviously.
Yeah, it's kind
Uh,
of if you didn't bowl well this week, it's like you kind of even if you did bowl well, you almost have to just forget about the week because we're heading into something completely different.
yeah, I don't take a lot of the results that happened this week too heavily, especially for like these next power rankings. They kind of were a factor in some of my decisions, but for like the top guys, like the Simons of the world, I was like, you know, when the
I
scoring
feel
pick
like it should matter for Bill because
advantage.
Bill is a good bowler,
Bill, yeah, Bill's a good
maybe
bowler.
even Smalls.
I had a feeling that Bill's gonna show out this year. I had a feeling. Last
I
year he
think
got the 14-pound debacle, but I think he's back now.
I think he's going to be a little more dialed in. It could potentially lead up to being a Player of the Year type year for him.
Yeah, obviously ended last year at the Players Championship very well, and is going to finish at worst third again. So U.S. Open type bowl. Well, I imagine he'll be all right.
Shot maker for sure, and his hands looking really strong at the bottom too. Like he's one of the ones that threw urethane almost the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, if I were to fit myself in a categorical type bowler, you got your two-handed power players. You got, stronger one-handed power players like Tommy Jones. And then you have the Bill O'Neills of the world, the Nick Pates, the Brad Millers. I think I fit kind of in that category. So I'm watching Bill and I'm like, I feel like I should have gotten at least somewhat close to him. I'm not nearly as good as Bill. I'm not the shot maker he is. I don't really know how good he is with the lanes. Obviously, he's good enough. But I always feel like if someone's bowling well, or if I'm struggling, I'm looking to Bill. I'm trying to see what he's doing, what kinds of balls he's throwing, and what we're doing different.
Yeah, you're definitely in that I would say like a power tweener, kind of like all those guys you described. You're definitely a power tweener. But what Bill's not, he's not a two-time team trials champion.
That's true.
Tell us about the week. Tell us about the team trials experience. Obviously, a little bit of a home game for you, especially at Gold Coast.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't really bowl at Gold Coast a ton. I know a lot of the videos kind of crank out that way, and we
Mm.
pump them out because that's we have got kind of the hookup there in a way. We can get some patterns out, whatever, whatever. Um, I will admit, uh, Chris and I did get to practice on the day 3 pattern before team trials,
Mm.
but anybody could have practiced on any of the patterns because they were released early.
Yeah.
Um, did they play anything like what we bowled on? Not really. Um, even for practice session, they were different. Everything hooked so much more in practice. My hope was that they would get a little bit tighter because I didn't want to have to struggle to get my ball down the lane. But I mean, obviously, it was a really good week. Uh, I'm still a little attached to the day that I didn't score that well, but I think I figured out why. But the biggest thing about that tournament is damage control. You don't have a bad day, or you limit that bad day, your chances of making Team USA are pretty high.
Yeah,
So
like for most people, like I feel like if you come in, that always be a really good week. But top 20 every day, you get a little less than 100 points. I mean,
you're on the team. That's
yeah.
top 4.
So
It was
uh,
117 this year
117 for
for
top.
4th. Yep.
Yeah, so top
It was
20
it
every
was
day.
actually kind of crazy because there were 2 kids. You have to be 18 to make the adult team.
Yeah, that's new.
There were 2 17-year-olds that were both really good. I think they finished 6th. They might have been 5th and 6th or 6th and 7th, something like that.
6 and 7 because Prather was like fifth, right?
Prather ended up being the next automatic spot
Yeah.
because if you win the amateur championship, you earn a spot on the team. But
Mm-hmm.
if you already earned your spot through making it qualifying in the top 4, that spot rolls down to the next spot, next eligible player, and that happened to be Prather. So for you like to keep the same core of guys because year to year, if the team's completely different, it's hard to maintain the same culture, the same chemistry. You want to be able to build something that lasts. So you kind of have to have some of the same players. So to have Prather get an automatic spot, he's part of that culture. He's also part of the team that typically travels to the big events.
Yeah.
It was huge
World
to
to me.
allow the coaches to pick another player that's still a part of that culture. And I kind of want to talk about that as well. The selection process, and
Talk
a
about
lot
it.
of people don't really understand that when it comes to the resumes, the coaches can pick whoever they want. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you don't finish, if you don't get an automatic spot, or you don't finish right outside of that, your chances, and you've never made the team before, or you haven't done anything on the tour, you shouldn't get your hopes up. I'm not saying don't chase your dreams. I'm saying don't get that expectation that you should make Team USA on 1 week of bowling
Yeah.
if you don't get that auto. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. That's what we didn't understand when we were first trying to make this team, even as juniors. Um, example, someone finished 10th, and that was that really, really tough spot, because that's right outside of the 2 tournament picks. Because typically, if they don't have a reason to skip you, they won't. So they went down the line. It was Russo and Chris. And I think they were either 7th and 8th or 8th and 9th.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're dropping into the resume picks. So if you look at this guy's resume, what has he done compared to everybody they picked? You can't really complain because you bowled well for 1 week, but these are the resume picks. We're picking based on careers now. So you got this 1 week of bowling, and that's the only difference for the resume picks. If you fall in that resume category, your performance does matter because they will go down the line. They will see who bowled well, who didn't. They're going to look at the Andrew Andersons, the AJ Johnsons, the who else did they pick on a resume? I don't even remember. I know they didn't pick Nick, but they're looking at Nick because he's got a resume that he's
And
been on the team for 6 years or something like that. He's won gold
but
medals.
there,
Say that again?
Kyle Troop, who
Oh
wasn't even.
yeah, yeah, Kyle Stroop. Um, so yeah, I really got to be careful on some things that I'm allowed to spill and some things that I'm not. But that was a big one. They do. I will say they do take that into consideration. They do want you to come to team trials. That means that you're supporting the team, you're supporting the organization, and that's what they want to see. So if this really isn't relevant to anyone that doesn't have a Kyle Troop or a AJ Johnson type resume. But if you do want to make the team, show up to all the events. Bowl if you're junior bowl, junior gold. If you're if you want to make the junior team, keep bowling team trials, all the events that
Mhm.
USBC is attached to. If that name is there, you should go support the event.
Yeah, like Team USA, it's not a celebration of who bowled good for a week and you get to bowl, you get to represent Team USA. It's like it's a whole body of work. They're going to want the best bowlers, uh, for the team to send out to go win gold medals. If you have one good week, you match up for a week at one bowling center for 5 days. Doesn't necessarily mean you're the best bowler. I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily shit on the three other guys that took automatics, but like Julian, very good, obviously, but the other two,
Hmm.
you haven't seen them on the tour or anything like that.
Right.
Uh, Not a lot of big.
Obviously, very good players. They had good weeks. Like
Yeah,
you don't typically have someone that can't can't play finish in an
exactly.
automatic spot to make Team USA. So
Yeah, it's like a whole body of work. You almost gotta you gotta pay your dues. Um, you know,
100%. Yeah.
years like you have, and I once did, but no longer do. You put your work in. Obviously, you've won it twice, so you've got that resume, you've got that body of work. So one year you could finish probably in the 20s, and if the situation's right, you get picked, and justifiably so, just because you've done what you need to do already. So
Right. I mean,
uh,
it's the AJ Johnson situation. You finished
exactly,
26th. He got a pick. He got a nod. He was PBA champion. He's been on Team USA for 10 years now. He's won world gold medals. He's won. He's a he when he's firing on all cylinders. He's one of the best. He's hard to beat. Like I I broke the record at PabCon the first year I got to bowl, and then we were on the same team. He bowled anchor, and then 10 minutes later he beat me. So
yeah, it's like if you take an amateur who finished in 10th or 11th, whatever. I'm not sure how the standings panned out, but if you take that amateur, if you got a choice between him and AJ Johnson, and if you're the committee, it's pretty obvious. Like,
it's a no brainer. It's very biased when you're on that side of things. And
mm-hmm.
again, we were in those positions before. I finished.
Or not me.
I was like the first. Well, I mean, they picked you, and you were the lowest I think pick ever
I,
on the
I
men's side.
beneficiary of
Yeah,
the.
they dug deep for Mikey. He was 30th, and they picked him. But I mean, you look at the week he had and the kind of player he is. He already had a little bit of a resume. There was that pick was made with good reason. And you were an extra pick too. It wasn't even a.
I was a
There
bonus.
were 5 resumes and 12 people were already on the team or whatever it was, and they went for a 13th. And then people got really mad that that 13th pick didn't go to somebody else.
Yeah,
But
and then
again, those are the same people that'll finish in 10th place, and then they'll complain about not being on the team or not getting picked for the team. But in reality, you haven't really earned it yet. It's 1 week of bowling.
yeah,
I
you
just want to kind of open your eyes to how like the reality of Team USA and what you need to do to make the team.
yeah, it's not just a 1 week thing. It's a whole year, whole life type deal. You gotta they take everything you've ever done into consideration, and
Hmm.
ultimately they have to do what's best for the program. So, if what's best for the program is taking AJ Johnson from 26th or Michael Tang from 30th, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, this year just kind of happened to pan out to where they had to use their picks on their guys because 3 of the automatics went to brand new players for the adult team. So what do you do then? You got the guys that deserve that brand new experience. We have 3 rookies. We have 12 spots on the team. Those 9 other spots, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to go for the guys that they know that are proven, that can perform, that get the job done. So that's what happened.
Yeah, if you're like a good amateur or you finish high in that tournament, you almost want the pros to take all the autos just so
Hmm.
have a chance.
Like let's say there was a year that it was, I think for 2 years straight it was pretty much Troop, AJ, Butters, and me taking the automatic spots. And
Mhm.
that's the ideal situation for, I mean, it's ideal for the pros too, because then that gives a chance for more of the other pros to make it as well. But in
Benefits.
that sense, they're not like the team, in my opinion, isn't going to be pushing for, the guys they need anymore because they have the guys that they need.
They
They're
can they
they're
can
more
look.
likely to look at an amateur player with a pretty good resume.
Mhm. Like the almost like the well, I think the one pick I feel like people might get mad about is like the Robarge pick.
That was a little surprising considering
I
they
I
already had two really good lefties.
had two-handed lefties, yeah, and didn't bowl particularly well the last 2 days, but he's got that body of work.
He's got
Maybe
the resume. He has. He supports the program. He's been on the junior team for I think 3 years. He is a really good player.
that's
It's
like the
not
best
like,
for people wanting to make the team.
yeah,
Spencer, bowl everything, do well, and they'll pick you eventually.
and you could probably say he got snubbed last year because he was that right outside of the performance pick
Oh, did
range, and they skipped him. Or
mm,
they, I don't know if they skipped him, but it's situational. It depends on who finishes around you. Like I finished 12th one year and I didn't make it because on the last day, AJ and Andrew went around me. They were 10th and 11th, and I was 12th, and they just went down the line. My resume isn't much better than theirs, so there was no reason to you know kind of skip them for me. So at that point, I go, I just didn't bowl good enough.
exactly. That is the attitude that all you need. Everybody in here, just bowl better. That's all you need.
Entitlement will never get you very far.
Exactly. All right, let's get back to the PBA. Obviously, we want Chris to win,
Yes.
but if you had one person, one left field pick for the top 10 power rankings for the U.S. Open, who are you going with?
Ooh, left field.
I've made my power rankings ready
Who do I think is going to bowl well outside of me, considering I've missed the cut at that tournament the last 7 years in a row?
outside of you. Yep.
Uh, ooh, that's a tough one. Who did I watch this week?
We're going
It's
back
got
to
to be somebody that's.
the third year in a row, two flat patterns, and one middle finger pattern. Who's going to bowl well?
Oh man, it's always hard to go against the Thomas Larson pick. Are your
Mm,
power rankings just for the tournament, like that
yeah,
specific tournament? Okay, it's not like a rolling
not who's
kind
doing
of.
it.
Okay, yeah. I'm a big Thomas Larson guy. Shot maker, pretty good with shapes, very versatile. That's my guy.
I think I think the left could be deadly again this year.
Was it
Woodland,
deadly last year?
um,
I
it
don't
was
remember.
like Jesper qualified in sixth. I bowled with
Yeah, but
him.
Jesper is just that guy.
Justin Knowles came in sixth. He finished.
Okay. Yeah, he
Uh,
bowled good this past week as well.
yeah, I think there's some other lefties that bowled pretty well, but Woodland's normally a good lefty house, and I think typically they do better on the flat pattern because they don't destroy the flat patterns as much as we do.
Yeah, like we bowled on the 39 last year, and I had 150 the first game, but I had 120 over my next 4 or 5 after I got kind of dialed in. I started bowling pretty good. The look was there. They certainly weren't easy. Like if I got a little steep, my ball didn't hook. But if I got it there way too fast, it hooked way too much. So I definitely had to make some shots. So I had 120 over for like a 4 game stretch. They're
Yeah,
tough.
I think the left is going to be very prevalent this year. All right, we
I,
talked under. Let's talk big dogs. EJ,
big dogs.
another top seed this year, 3 in a row. How do you
I
look this?
think I'm. I think I'm gonna give it to. God, it's so tough. He's definitely he's big at the USBC events.
And it's a
Um, Hometown, yeah, as well. Freer, it's crazy. You get on that kegel machine, the free hook down lane. You don't have to cram on it.
your ball
It's
size.
the PBA special. It's being able to hit it as hard as you can, but still get it through the fronts. That's the hardest part because when you hit it harder, it reads earlier.
Yep.
So, but if you don't hit it hard enough, you're balling hook down lane.
Yep.
So, or you have to do it with rotation, but you don't want to do that because now it's not reading the body of the lane enough, and that's kind of where I get stuck. Um, but anyways, getting back to the question, I'm going with Simon this time. He's coming off of a bad week. He got it going a little bit towards the end. Yeah, I was beating him by a bunch most of the term. He ended up beating him by 20.
Yeah.
So he bowled really good the last block. I didn't particularly bowl well the last day, or didn't score well at least. But I think Simo's coming. I think it's time. He's coming off of a year that should have been a Player of the Year type year. EJ just had a better one. So
2 in a
I
row.
think he is very good at just taking it one day, one frame at a time. So I don't know if that's in the back of his mind, but I feel like it kind of has to be.
Yeah, like somebody's knocking on my door. Mr. Love. But yeah, 2 years in a row. Could have won Player of the Year. Didn't. He was my way too early pick for Player of the Year this year.
Not
like
off to the hottest start.
No, yeah, but the high scoring tournaments, I feel like, is where he has the least amount of advantage because he's so creative, so
right.
patient. So
You could literally have done anything this last week. You could have done it any way you wanted to. I got bowled with Belmo, and watching the things he was doing, I was like, I would never even think to do what you're doing. He went from the red ball to a hustle rip.
Oh, it was a hustle.
No, the first day it was a hustle rip, and then he goes to the IQ, and then I think he kind of struggled the first block. He only had 140 over, but I don't think I bowled much better than he did. I think the ball choices were the biggest difference. Like, he wasn't throwing any balls or reading the lane. What's up, Mr. Love?
Hey, look, bud, how's it going? Still have trouble?
Never.
No, I don't believe that.
But yeah, just watching his ball choices. But as the days went on, he didn't really stray from his game plan. He just kind of dialed in what he needed to do, and it's amazing that he can make things work when for a normal person it shouldn't work.
Yeah, he is pretty extraordinary in that way. But yeah, give us the Belmo update. Obviously, first tournament off the plane.
He was actually a little sick.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't feeling well. He made a couple trips to the bathroom. I wasn't really sure if he was actually sick or not, because that's kind of just what he does sometimes. But he just, I couldn't tell that he was sick, so he must have been just really good at hiding it. But considering this week is, he finished 24th. I don't think he got to do what he likes to see, and he still made the cut at a really high scoring event. For a little bit, I had Belmo by 100, and then all of a sudden, we're done bowling, and he beat me by 200.
Yeah, they didn't give him the big wheel, but a guy like him is going to be there no matter what.
He did. He definitely took advantage of the big wheel moments when it was there, because he was
typically
even. He was even after 2 games, the last block, and he got to like 230 over. He just started hooking it, and I was like, let me try that. I had a game where I didn't strike for the first 7 frames at 102 in the 7th frame. I ended up going back to the ball that I started with that game. I just lofted it and rotated it a little bit, and I dead nutted the last 5. I'm like, you're telling me that if I just made that adjustment in the 3rd frame, I could have shot 260? Meanwhile, Tez has the front 7. Belmo's got spare 6-bagger. Showed his bowling pretty good. I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, those are the kind of moments that you can't have when they're that high scoring. But
right,
to learn. Obviously, we've done a lot of living and learning. So, see, we got about 10 minutes or so left. Let's hear some pressing questions from the crowd here.
Pressing questions?
Who's got a nice question?
I actually answered some of those the other day.
You're in the pressing questions?
I am, yeah.
Nice. See if I can find some.
We got 300. I'm surprised the chat's not just booming. You got 350 people in here.
I know. What are you guys doing? How do we only have 71 likes? What's wrong with you people?
Like the video. It helps the channel.
Yeah. So, as a heads up for the chat, we're going to avoid the Ryan Barnes question. So, don't bother asking.
Yeah, it's a very touchy subject right now, and it's not looking great. We have a players chat, and that thing is going. It's been
popping,
and not in a good way.
What is your biggest motivation? I'm assuming that's for you, Darren, not me.
I feel like we could both answer that question. Like, you had motivation for pursuing the path that you have chosen. for me, it's winning. Getting out there and chasing my dreams, and winning hopefully major tournaments in the future. Hopefully the next one, because that one would be really cool. And the paycheck is the same as the last event, and just cashing is about a third.
Yep.
So yeah, that one kind of stung a little bit. I didn't know how much the cash was until I saw the prize fund, and I was like, man,
Yeah, I
I
heard
missed one
eight,
spare.
like 15 grand or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I know low cash is 4,000. So I was like, man,
Wow.
for a low check, that's pretty good.
There's that. I saw another question. Yeah, let's briefly talk new releases. Which one are you most excited for? I don't know if you've gotten to throw the new ones yet or
Like
not.
new, or
I'm
just new.
assuming new. We'll go all of 24 the balls that have been announced. So Summit Peak, Absolute Power.
Okay.
I don't know if you drilled the new ones yet. The
Is,
harsh
is the Sublime a 24 ball, or is that I don't know. I think it's a
ball, but you can.
December ball. I like Sublime a lot.
I do.
Absolute Power, I've actually thrown every single tournament that I've bowled so far since it came out. Threw it in Korea, made the show. Threw it in. Threw it team trials for a couple of the days. It looked pretty good as well. It's just a different look. I think it fits my game pretty well because I'm a little bit more on the lower ball speed, and it's a cleaner cover. So um, it's weird. Like, you wouldn't think a ball like that would work last week with the type of oil and how much oil there was on the lane, but at times it looked really good.
It's got so much air to where it almost helps it kind of.
Yeah, so it makes it like a little bit quicker when it sees it because it's so clean. And I think it's a really good long pattern down the stretch ball, in my opinion. I thought that was just kind of where it would fit. It would be really niche, but I actually threw it, throwing it to gutter um, at Team Charles and this past week. So Absolute Power has been really good for me. Attention Star and Harsh Reality, I will be drilling today. I think technically we're not really supposed to be talking about those yet, but
So
I'm gonna
we don't know.
we don't know. I'm gonna drill them and throw them today, so we'll see. I'll get a little bit of a gauge on where they're at, but I will be talking about them in my Patreon if you guys want to join that.
Join the howtobowl.com. Go check it out.
Howtobowl.com if you guys want to bowl like a champ.
Bowl like a champion. Shout out to our boy FK Force Kritzer. Drop in the super chat.
FK, let's go.
He says, grab some sushi on him. Stay handsome. Man, you're the handsome one. But we'll get together at some point. Hopefully earlier than November Vegas, if I even go. But
you might as well go. It's like tradition. We just film a bunch of content.
Yeah, show up, do content, come in like 6th place again. Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got. This question's how is Kyle Sherman? Injury okay? I'm gonna alter that question. I get a lot of questions about your arm. Arm's got to be doing all right since you won team.
Arm's doing all right. Yeah, we're good. I think.
100%.
I think it's all. I don't know if it's 100, but I think I got to stay proactive and making sure it stays okay. But so far so good. The last game of the tournament, I had the front 7. I actually had a chance to punch out for the cheese, but I didn't know what the numbers were looking like. I figured I needed at least the first one. I could have shot 279. I bowled 258. Again, I made a half board move, and I didn't have to. Got behind it one shot, and then it just kept getting behind it again. So it's like, if I just stayed in the same spot, maybe I would have struck out. But that was the hardest I've hit it since my arm was busted last year. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm starting to be able to do more things with my hand and kind of push the limit, get past that ceiling that I was at when I was hurt. So hopefully, good things to come.
Yeah, I'm thinking a U.S. Open cut made for Darren Tang this week.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good. I typically, if I was in the worst spot almost humanly imaginably possible for the week. As far as how it makes you feel. Being in there after the first block, like you're a contender to do the thing, to kind of hanging around the cut and then falling all the way out of a cache, first out of the cache. Typically that weighs on you pretty hard, but I felt like I bowled pretty good all week, just not quite putting together what I needed to do. Because as we've been talking about, the PBA Tour is just so different. Just not dialing in what I needed to do and being on the right side of the miss. It was always on the wrong side. It was like a miss hit, inside out. Kind of. It wasn't the throw it too slow and you 4-pin, it was always the throw it too fast or inside out and you 2-8-10. So if I 4-pin, or if I even just single pin half the shots that I split, I'd probably make the cut.
Yeah, I would say that's mostly the case for me in the last year or so, but I was a lot of splits and single pins away from making cuts. We'll go last question here. Very pressing one because you do have a lot of them in here. I got from Hoodie. Who is your favorite Twitch mod?
That's tough.
I don't know if you can see the chat, but I can definitely see the chat.
Yeah, I can see it. In terms of who does the most and the best work in both, it would probably have to be Brit.
Oh, Britt, I don't know if you're still in here, but
she's been doing a lot. I see her very active in a lot of the Twitch streams and on Discord and actively moderating. So
I don't
I'm
like
gonna have to give her the trophy.
It's all right. Second place isn't bad.
I mean, I like Hoodie because he comes in and tells everybody to drop their primes. But other than that, I don't know how much he does outside of that.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you. 375 people in here. That's pretty fantastic. So, big shout out, Darren, for joining us. Claps from everybody. Thank you.
If TV shows are on Monday, hopefully I can't make any of these anymore.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Although it's on mobile, Chris could have made it this morning.
Yeah, well, we want to let him get into his zen spot. But every Monday we're going to be here around 11 to 11:05 Eastern time, talking about whatever's happening in the bowling world, or just talking about whatever you want to talk about.
Not the things that'll get us fined.
Yeah, I kind of want to try and get fined. We'll work up to that. We got a few months. But
we could just talk about what the pressing question right now.
Yeah, maybe we'll live stream tomorrow and talk about it. But once again, guys, thank you so much for watching, for joining us. Again, thank you, Darren, for joining us early morning for him. So we appreciate it. And everybody have a happy Monday. Have a good week. It's cold out there. What's the Vegas weather like?
That's not bad. I think it's in the 40s.
Okay, good for you. It's 9 here, so.
Yeah, it was 0 to -1 in Wichita. I was very happy to get out.
Yeah.
I don't like it when you go outside and your face hurts immediately.
Mm-hmm. We got some practice in Korea, so.
Yeah, I feel like it was almost worse. The wind chill, it was like -20. In Korea, it was like -5.
It was like, minus single digits with the wind chill.
Yeah, -20, no good.
Yeah, fuck that. But all right, guys, I gotta open the shop. Darren's gotta go take a nap or whatever. So we'll see you. Peace.
Bye.